Call this meeting of the BZA to order. Let's start off with a prayer and a pledge. I'll ask John if he'll conduct the pledge, and Robert if you give her indication.
Yes.
Stand, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who would bow and let us pray? Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening, Lord, so thankful for just another blessed day. Father, we thank you for our health. We thank you for the ability to join here together, Father, to discuss this business tonight. We ask as we move forward in this that that you give us the wisdom to use in making the decision necessary to follow our ordinance and also to assist the applicant in any way we can. Father, and we just thank you for your many blessings in our lives. We ask for your protection as we leave here tonight. Continue to watch over and guide and direct our steps. We give you thanks and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Next item is approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll
I have a
second it.
motion to approve the agenda. Second. Those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, our business items. We have a request for excuse me. I circled them where I wouldn't, and then I forgot them. We have approval of the minutes. Is there
I'll
any
make a motion.
additions or changes? Have a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
And have a second. Those in favor, let it know saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we can get into the business. A request for a variance on a outbuilding. Robert, would you start us off?
Yes, sir. I'd be glad to. Thank everybody for being here tonight. Applicant, Mr. Michael Yerby, who's present here tonight, is requesting a conditional use permit from this board in regards to a 780 square foot garage, detached garage that he wants to construct behind his residence, located at, and I don't even have his address. 402, I apologize.
North College.
Yeah, 402 North College. Of course, as you know, his proposal is to have the metal siding for the garage. Now, he has indicated in the packet as well, on the application itself, it's actually on the picture that was included in your packet. He's indicated that he'll have 10-foot walls, not 12, as indicated. Metal outside, black roof, white trim with brick red skirting. So he has taken into account the aesthetics in his proposal, other than the exterior cladding of metal, which does not fit our construction guidelines set forth in our zoning ordinance, section 10.8. The only way that anybody can receive approval for anything over 200 square feet with that exterior cladding is through conditional use permit allowance by this board. And that's why we're present here tonight. Mr. Yerby came before me, spoke briefly about a building permit, and I discussed his project with him. He indicated that, it was going to be 780 square foot structure with metal siding as the exterior cladding, and I indicated to him that he could only come before this board. So he's taking that next step, and that's what brings us here this evening. I did just a few minutes ago hand you out, gives you an indication of his measurements that he's taken in the field, and in regards to the accessory structure in relation to his primary structure. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. I hope I included enough in your packet to make a good assessment of the project and the location. But if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Mr.
I'd like
Wilkinson.
to ask Mike one thing. I see 16 foot from the garage to the road. Do y'all own that, half of that?
Oh, the alley behind
Uh-huh.
us? Yeah, they, you know, they used to pick garbage up there.
But you didn't include that in this? at all.
No, it's, we went from the power line,
Right.
not the lower middle one, but there's two on that, on top of the pole, went from this one over here.
Yeah.
He came out, Chance came out and.
We
stepped
measured,
it,
we went over that. We measured.
Oh, did
two
you?
ways, yeah, so I
But,
just asked you about
But
it.
had to go from that, not that middle one, had to go from this one over here. Which had been nice if it was from the middle, but he said that's what that was.
But that is what they call a public alley. Is it a public or did they just use that for garbage collection?
It used to be public, now they deeded it back to the
Did-
home.
Yeah, they did it back to
back,
us.
Okay.
They used to pick garbage up, but they'd go out off First Avenue, they'd go down and come out on that, Pleasantwood, whatever that is on that next street.
Yeah, used to us.
Yeah, long time ago they did. But we lived where Jim Powell lives, and I used to put garbage out there. But yeah, that's where we went from that. I think I'm pretty close on my numbers right there, I think.
Yeah, you are.
I think I got close anyway.
Just right here, I seen 20 foot, of course, there's no stop, show no property line. I went, measured, I helped to take, I think it was, and then measured 18 feet, I think.
It goes,
On the other
goes
side,
about to that, clothesline between us, or maybe just a little bit over that
you was
clothesline.
okay, ain't it?
And then it goes up Mickey over there, so there was a thing we looked at the other day when he came over there. There was a thing, of course, its grass has grown up, but there was like a little block or something that was on this side of that pole, right there by the pole. And he said, oh, I don't care. And I said, no, I said, we need to know where this is at, you know, so I think we're pretty close on that too. At least he said that's all right, so. Like I said, I think I'm pretty good on all this.
So is there a problem with multiple buildings on the site? Some of the other buildings will go away?
You're allowed.
Is that what I read? No, I mean-
You're allowed to have two accessory structures, on your property. And Mr. Yerby has indicated to me he's taking, one of those structures.
Took one down and then I started on this other one and I've got some money in it. I don't know. I think I'm gonna sell it, but I can't tear it down. I got too much money. Got too much Lowe's money in it but
So as
So
far as
it'll
the
be-
accessory structures right
Well, I'll
now,
just-
he would meet with just the
Okay.
structures. He would meet the requirement.
I honestly don't see any reason why he shouldn't be able to.
It is a pole building, ain't it, what they call a pole building?
it's a pole, post and beam, I guess, is what they call it.
Post and then the metal on the outside.
Yeah,
Pump line construction.
But I see shingles in here. You gonna have shingles put on
no, it's gonna be a metal
the
top.
metal?
But on the front of it, I was thinking about it. I don't know how it'd be. I was gonna ask the guy when I came over there to do sort of like, I know where there's a funeral home at that, so that would start out a metal building. He put like fake brick looking stuff, and they make some like 4x8 sheets of that brick, so like what our house is. I don't have close to match, but I like to get one, and it would really look good, I think, to do that lower fascia, take that off and put that on there, and kind of dress it up a little
That'd
bit.
just be an improvement, so.
I think it'd look good.
It would, but you're gonna put it on the front
Big on the front.
house where you see it.
I don't know.
On each side of you, you've got the lady that was there. Were these people contacted? Either one of them, I'm sure Mickey was. He
Yeah,
did
Mickey
work.
was. Didn't we say something to Melissa? And she said it didn't make any difference.
It's like I need.
I'll
Is
make,
this Benham or whatever, is that that's the first one's over there that you was talking about? Renting that house,
Oh, the renting the house, I guess,
Yeah, Melissa Bennett.
oh, Melissa,
yeah,
Brendan,
you had her name down
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Okay, too.
she was living in Nashville, and then she bought that house. And then she got laid off from, she was a flight attendant, got laid off, and and then she went back to Brentwood.
You're talking about the woman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the one on the corner,
that owns it.
yeah, the one that owns it, and then she, started dating this guy, and come to find out, we thought she was gonna get married, and I guess she still is, I'm not sure, but anyway, she said the other day, she's in real estate, that she's wanting to maybe sell it, so I don't know what she's gonna do, but I think last time we talked to her, whenever that was, you remember? I don't remember when it was, you just always.
She got laid off.
Yeah, she lost her job, and then she got into the union part of it for the flight attendants, and they laid her off on that, so she's had a pretty rough time,
Yeah,
so.
sometimes you have to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit for it.
I think we've got a motion, do I have a second?
I second.
And a second. Those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Uh,
Opposed? Motion carries. We got your approval.
Okay, so,
Now, if there's anything I need to do, if she moves me out there to it,
That's all.
I guess you'll need a plumbing permit. Plumbing and sewer.
Fire car.
I'll let you tomorrow or the next day, with the
Okay.
permits, so.
Okay. So, we done? Right.
You're done.
See y'all.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
All right, see ya.
Old business?
Well, Chairman, I indicated to you I'd like to discuss something with the board, if you don't mind taking a few minutes. Back in 2019, so we have to go back in history just a little bit. There was a conditional use here approved for 739 South Main Street for a landscaping yard. Mr. Bo Shears presented that.
Yes.
Okay. So he never took any other steps until just here recently. That's why it's brought before the board. So I started looking back on the minutes of that previous meeting. I didn't share them with y'all, I apologize. But in essence, what the minutes said was that this board gave the approval for the conditional use contingent. I think you made the motion. Contingent upon the site plan going for the planning commission, a full site plan going for the planning commission for what he was planning on doing out there. And at that time, there was discussion from this board in relation to whether or not this board could approve a site plan. Now, you don't necessarily have the ability to approve a site plan, but on your conditional use, sometimes you might be, y'all might be met with somebody presenting something as such. So there's a section in our zoning ordinance that, you know, if y'all get an opportunity, you might want to write this down. I just want y'all to kind of touch base on this yourselves and just get your own opinion on it. It's under the conditional use section, and it's going to be 10.8,
you said 10,
10.8,
oh, 8.
and then it's going to be under your section. Well, I'll take that back. It's going to be section 4.5. 10.8 is conditional use construction. So 4.5 in the zoning ordinance. Yes. So if y'all familiarize yourself with that, y'all do have a little leeway. It gives criteria in line item on what this board can do. And I've looked at it time and over again. It almost is the same criteria for a site plan, to be honest with you. You know, safety of the community, Does it meet, ingress, egress? Is it going to pose any traffic concerns? So it kind of carries the same context that the site plan would, not as in-depth as a site plan would. Now, that being said, if y'all are ever faced with an opportunity again to view something as such, I'm not saying you have to rule on it, but those are criteria that you can look at if a site plan is presented as part of conditional use or something like that. It still has to go for the site plan review, okay? Now, that brings me to my point tonight. In our minutes, the motion was made by Mr. Pruitt that the approval was contingent upon getting approval from the Planning Commission on a site plan. Well, we have in our zoning ordinance also an administrative review. So not everything has to go full circle and come to the site, come to the Planning Commission. Now, it gives me leeway from my office. There's criteria that has to be met. And if it don't fall within the context of that criteria, then it automatically goes to the Planning Commission. If I think that it follows suit with what that criteria is for an in-office review versus going to the Planning Commission, then I will review it as such. Now, at any time in my review that I see that this is needing a little more attention, I can automatically send it to the Planning Commission. So I spoke with our legal counsel, and those minutes have to be corrected because it's my opinion that when he brings in this site plan, and I haven't spoken with Mr. Broshears, but when he brings in this site plan, that it's going to meet the administrative criteria. Well, right now, the way it's called out in the minutes, it specifically says contingent upon full submittal site plan for Planning Commission approval. So those need to be changed in a formal setting. And that's the reason I was bringing it to the board tonight. Our attorney's suggestion was that the simplest way to handle a correction of minutes is to bring it back on the next agenda, identified, public notice and so on and so forth, just for correction of those minutes. And if the board is okay with that, that's what I plan on doing as one agenda item. It might be our only agenda item for next month, but it will be in direct relation to a redaction, and it can be worded something as simple as just taking out the Planning Commission. And the reason being is because I can't have this brought to me as administrative site plan review and take it under my authority back here to do this site plan. By what the minutes reflect, it automatically goes straight. The same charge applies. So it has nothing to do with saving the applicant any money. If whether it comes to my office or Planning Commission, it's still going to be a fee associated with that. And there'll be a thorough review. You can ask Mr. Hunter, who sits on the Planning Commission, anybody else that's familiar with the Planning Commission. We do a thorough in-house review before it ever reaches the Planning Commission. So administratively, I think that his site plan is going to meet that criteria. That's the only reason I'm asking the board to look at those minutes and redact that section just so it can be publicly noted.
Sure.
And then if it does follow suit with what I think and comes as administrative, we don't have that holdup legally.
I think that's great.
Yeah, I
for
think
the-
that's a
for
great
the- For the
idea.
community and for the commissions.
Yeah.
Because if it can be handled in your office, it makes everything so much
Yeah.
I
simpler.
agree.
But
I
once
completely
again,
agree.
if there's any question in my review that this needs a further review by the Planning Commission, I automatically will address it on the next agenda with the Planning Commission. It's not something that we take lightly. Even before the site plan comes before the Planning Commission, a regular site plan, we do 2 weeks of review before it makes it here. And that's the same thing we apply to our administrative review. It's a good, solid, I have 30 days. It's a good, solid review before it ever. And I'm going to look at everything that our zoning code lays out for me to identify.
The last time if I remember that there was 2 buildings on there. We didn't know which one is gonna be. It's supposed to be a office up front,
That's
and next
correct.
thing you know, they moved it down there.
He wasn't, when he proposed this to the Planning Commission, he wasn't sure how he was going to make that operate. I don't know that he's really is at this point, but it's been brought to my attention that he's asking what is his next step.
Really, is he really interested?
Well, it's, like I said, it's been brought to my attention now.
I'm on. I just tell you what I think right now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, as long as everything is, you can't make it look any worse.
True.
Yeah,
Very true.
that's
If he went and he was talking about putting bushes up and
Oh, yeah.
flowers up and
Mhm.
all that kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
It would help that more than anything in the other businesses out there.
I 100% agree, and I think right now, I don't know if he was just, you know, his lack of knowledge as any layperson coming in to something like this
Yeah.
would probably, I think he was confused and really didn't know which direction to go. Even though after our meeting, immediately after our meeting, the next day or the following day, I had a in-office meeting with the applicant, and I basically laid out the steps. Now, I don't know why they didn't move forward then, but that being the case, it's been brought to my attention that they're actually looking at it now. So I just want to make sure that the minutes are reflected to say as such. And everything that I've told y'all tonight, I've researched before I came in here and even talked with legal on it. So that was her suggestion. She said that's the easiest way. There is another possible alternative, and that's to take the minutes to the planning commission and have them kick them back to my office so I can bring them back to the BZA for redaction.
Let's just do it.
Let's do it the easy way.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's all the same for everybody.
Didn't you say you thought it went to the planning commission first?
That was, well, I remember the conversation. I think, Mr. White, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'm not saying that y'all have the ability to review a site plan by no means, but that criteria that I mentioned, familiarize yourself with that, because that's something you can look at. But when it's to a point to where I look at a site plan and I determine that it fits the criteria for the administrative review, I'm obligated to take it in my office first. And then if I see it needs a further review, I take it to the planning commission as well. The zone ordinance gives the ability to do that because, as you know, as all of y'all know, there are minor site plans and there are thorough site plans. Thorough site plans, I want to bring to the planning commission. 'Cause I want everybody's eyes on it, plus ours. 2 weeks in advance of the planning commission review. Because we take 2 weeks on a review. We send it out for the initial comments. If there's any revisions, they come back to our office, and we got another week of review before it ever comes to the planning commission. So we have almost a month vested before it reaches the planning commission table. Same as I would have with administrative review. And I don't trust only my expertise. We use a contract service through Lowe's and Associates with a contract planner. So even in administrative site plans, he gets a review, but he lets me take care of most of the work. If I have any questions, me and him conversate back and forth in relation to that site plan, particularly. But the zoning ordinance gives offices that ability to alleviate sometimes unnecessary review from the whole board, because they do typically get inundated with quite a few things coming down the line, and they're usually big, certainly in respect to minor site plans. There is criteria in our zoning ordinance as far as administrative review, and if you want to look at that, you're welcome to. It has to fit that certain criteria. There's maybe 10, if that, criteria set that I can use to judge if it needs an administrative review. And the reason I say this is because it's minor. He's really got to get ingress, egress, landscaping, and parking.
And the bathroom.
And yes, well, the building comes on the construction side most certainly, but for the site plan itself, that's what I would be looking at. You're not necessarily looking at contours. You're not looking at all the minute details that goes into a full-blown engineered site plan, because it's use of a lot that already exists, not changing the landscape of it enough to need those detailed engineered stormwater and so on and so forth that goes into that. But, once again, like I said, the administrative review, is in the zone ordinance as well as that section 4.5. Y'all are welcome to look at that, but, I think, in my opinion, it's my opinion, and also legal's opinion, that, this would be the best route to take, in redaction of just the planning commission comment, because it does hold it to that bar. It automatically has to go there. And when I take it to the planning commission is just gonna sit up there and say, "No, we don't need to see this. Let's send it back to your office. I'll be right back here doing the same thing." So we're alleviating a step, I guess, is what we're doing. So that's why I wanted to bring it to the attention of the board tonight, and see if, which option would work best to all of y'all as members. But once again, the suggestion from our attorney is the quickest and fast-tracked way to do that is to go through one board and just redact the planning commission section. You can leave it in there as full site plan review. You wouldn't have to say administratively or planning commission, but full site plan review, which would then give
Allow
me
for
the
both,
ability to do it.
if
Yeah,
needed.
it cover both. Yeah, that's why I wanted to discuss with y'all tonight. So.
I'd like to sit down and read that before I make a decision on it. I don't think this board should try to override the planning commission. That's their duty.
Yeah, and this, I'm not asking this board to override the planning commission.
I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, in this case, you're not.
Well, and I would never ask this board to override the planning commission, because the planning commission needs to see what the planning commission says.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And I may be 100% with it when I read this, but I want to read something before
That's
I
fine.
vote on it.
That's fine. So we set our meetings, well, we couldn't vote on it tonight anyway. The attorney just recommended that I bring
Yeah,
it to the
you
attention
have
of
to
the
set
board.
a new
That's
meeting.
correct, yes. So we set our meetings contingent upon the necessity. So
As needed.
feel free to review that, please. Both sections administratively. The administrative section, I can't, right off the top of my head, call what that is. The section in particular to the administrative review. But if you will look at that section 4.5, and thought I might have it in here, but I
I usually bring the planning book with me, but I didn't tonight. Can't look it up.
But if y'all will look at both sections, please, you can email me, give me a call, let me know your thoughts on it, and then we'll move on from there. But just so this board knows, not by our zoning ordinance, it's not by me. By our zoning ordinance, not every site plan goes to the planning commission.
Well, then, do we need to go through all of this till he comes in and requests a permit?
I haven't even talked to him. This is my follow-up that I'm doing. So I've told him that I would get back to him. But the first step in the process is it would never have to come back here. He would never have to come back here as an application. He's got to receive the conditional use approval. His very next step is a site plan. Administratively, which I think it will go, or planning commission. That's his very next step in the process.
That's what I was gonna ask about what Phil said, is it, do we know that we're not working in vain here doing this, are we? Is he gonna put us,
No, his interest has sparked again, so that's all I can tell you. I apologize. I mean, I can't assure you that he's going to do anything there. I can only tell you it's been brought to my attention by two people outside of the applicant via conversations with the applicant. So,
And this would be for like future, we
Yeah.
would need to, that
yeah,
way.
and also just future knowledge for
Yeah.
y'all to have as far as the administrative review goes, because in your motions from this point forward, just keep in mind, there's an administrative review and there's a planning commission review. Both are one and the same, except the administrative review don't go to the planning commission unless I see it necessary. And I use what is in our zoning text and my best judgment and the expertise from a contract planner.
So in our motions, we could say after administrative review, and then if you see,
I wouldn't even say administrative
Oh,
review.
okay.
I would just, if in the future, if a conditional use comes before you that is going to need some site work, my suggestion to this board would be the motion reflect full site plan review.
okay, full site?
No specificity to either or the planning commission or administrator.
Okay,
And that way it keeps us from ever having to redact minutes, in the future. And it's still, like I said, it's one and the same thing. But what's reflected in those minutes go on record for history.
Right.
And, if right now, if he were to come into me and hand me a site plan for review and application, and I see it as administrative, I have to send it straight to the planning commission based off of what the minutes reflect from the conditional use. So. But yeah, if y'all would just look at both those sections, and then we'll discuss it, and we can set a date appropriate for that.
How long's it been since we made that decision?
And I was just sitting here thinking about that, 2019. So that conditional use,
It's out of.
it's
a year
expired.
old.
It's a year old.
expired. So
Expired. He'd have to come back before this board for another conditional use. You are correct. That is correct. He would have to come back before this board for
They're
conditional
only
use.
good for 1 year.
Thank you for discussing that with me. And during my review of all this other stuff, I didn't think of that. So my reply and my response to Mr. Boshears and the other questioning members is that use expired.
He's got to start over.
He's got to start over from scratch. But please look at those sections. We don't even have to schedule another meeting. Well, we still need to redact those minutes. So please look at those sections.
Those minutes won't matter if it's already expired.
It's expired. Why do you need
It doesn't matter.
to change it?
We'll have to have new minutes.
That's true. You'd have to have new minutes. No redaction,
No.
so all this was just wasted conversation.
Well, not totally, but
There's no
No,
special
it was
condition.
not. We got down to the
We
truth.
got down to it was contingent
Well,
upon,
I was thinking maybe the reason why he didn't get started was COVID or something.
yeah, I'm with you.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was before COVID even.
it was
Yeah.
2019, yeah.
before I was on the board.
Yeah.
So,
It was,
I don't think.
his actual receipt for payment for,
Was
coming
when?
before this board was April 22nd, 2019.
he had
The
plenty of time,
COVID,
but really before.
2020.
Yeah, but please review those sections, because those are in the code text, and I want y'all to be familiar with them as well.
I think more administrative review that you can do.
The less burden it is on the planning commission. And that's what we try to do.
It's more efficient.
It's more efficient, and once again, I think, that is typically put in zoning text, I'll be honest with you, and I like it being in there, but it's typically put in zoning text is because the planning commission is usually inundated with big projects that are coming through.
Yeah.
They're having to look at those, we're having to look at those too. So, there's no need to burden them with unnecessary things that can be approved administratively that don't have to ever reach that level. It really has nothing to do with the applicant because it's the same time period, the 30-day turnaround. So we're not giving benefit to the applicant. The only benefit that I think is the outcome is that the planning commission is not looking at this and then having to have a public hearing and then turn around and having to kick it right back to the office for an administrative review, which don't make no sense, really. It just don't work.
It's wasted time.
It is a waste of time for everybody, really, to be honest with you. But, yeah, if y'all would familiarize yourself with those sections, and we'll move forward there, and I'll explain to the previous applicant, Mr. Boshears,
If he comes
the
in.
expiration.
I've got a couple things under old business. Adams Street. They've never done anything on that.
They have not moved on that. That's correct.
Did she get a permit?
Never did get a permit. And I'd have to look back and see when that can, because that's conditional use
Look
as
at the
well.
date on that one.
I will look at that one.
What one was that?
That was the lady that wanted to build the outbuilding.
Yeah.
All
Right
that
on the
big
line.
building in the front yard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's been at least 6 months.
It has been a while, but she never came back to the office. And she called me, I think, after our scheduled meeting day and talked like she was going to bring me in the information that I needed, but I never heard from her anymore after that, so I'll check on that one.
Do you usually follow up on those? I mean, as far to see if they're fixing to expire? I mean, I don't think, where they
I
just.
try my best. I don't have a check, I
Right.
don't have a check
I didn't know if there was some
ticker or
kind
anything
of,
like that.
these are all the ones that are open
Yes,
that haven't been completed?
typically, we'll have them move on pretty quick. I think right now, the only one that really comes to mind other than this conditional use right here is the one on Adams that you just brought up. 108 Edgewood has a building permit, active building permit. One on College has an active building permit as well. They're running into some issues with footers there. They're hitting rock, but they both have active permits right now. 'Cause they-
What about, the Workman deal? Has he got attached his carport to the house?
He has. He has. There's a little attachment that we discussed, and he did attach it back. Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So that's all I have for the board. I do appreciate y'all listening to me and discussing that with me, because that helped me recall that this is well over a year old, and that's our deadline for conditional use. So y'all helped me
All
out.
right, any other old stuff? How about new business? You got any new business to bring up?
No, sir, I don't. Thank you.
Have comments from any of the members of the commission? All righty.
One quick thing, I'm sorry, Mr. White, but Ms. Cole has sent me just recently, she had an opportunity to go to continuing ed, I guess for the county. And that ours, I'm gonna get ours scheduled pretty soon. Y'all are required to have 2 hours.
4,
4? Is it 4?
4,
It's 8 for me then. Okay. So I'm required to have 8, you're required to have 4.
4.
So I'll try to get something worked up to where I think y'all's preference is to have it all together if you can, right? Am I correct?
It works better where you
Works
get
better
the
if
whole
you get it all together.
group.
Okay,
I mean, they see it all, hear it all.
okay. So I'll do my best to start lining something up for our continuing ed for the board members. And thank y'all for y'all's time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Motion and a second. Those in favor?
Uh,
All right, meeting is adjourned.